The engine hummed steadily as I drove through the pitch-black night, the occasional beam of my headlights piercing the darkness like a lighthouse in a storm. I had always enjoyed the solitude of night drives, finding a strange sense of tranquility in the empty roads. But tonight, the tranquility had been replaced with a creeping sense of unease, as if I were being watched by unseen eyes from the shadows. I was on my way to visit a friend who lived in a secluded cabin deep in the woods. The only way to get there was a long, winding road that cut through the heart of the forest. It was a journey I had made countless times, but tonight was different. Tonight, the darkness seemed to press in closer, suffocating the light, and an unsettling chill hung in the air. As I continued on, the trees loomed like silent sentinels, their branches reaching out like gnarled fingers, threatening to snatch me from the safety of my car. The forest had a way of playing tricks on the mind, casting strange shapes in the shadows that seemed to dance and sway as if alive. The road ahead seemed never-ending, and I glanced at the clock, noting the time, 2:47 a.m. I had been driving for what felt like hours, and yet I had made little progress. The tires whispered against the asphalt as I pressed on, determined to reach my destination. But then, something caught my eye in the rearview mirror, a faint glimmer of light bobbing in the darkness. My heart skipped a beat, and I slowed down, squinting to get a better look. It was as if a lone lantern was floating in the air, steadily approaching my car from behind. Fear gripped me, and my mind raced with thoughts of all the urban legends and ghost stories I had heard about this road. Was I being followed? Was it some malevolent spirit seeking to lead me astray? I shook off the unease, chiding myself for entertaining such thoughts. It was probably just a trick of the light, or perhaps another lost traveler looking for directions. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. As the light drew nearer, I noticed it was not alone. More lights began to appear, flickering like distant stars on the horizon. In a moment of panic, I slammed my foot on the gas pedal, desperate to put distance between me and the mysterious lights. The car surged forward, and the trees blurred into a dark tunnel. But just as I thought I had escaped, the lights reappeared, closer this time, and multiplied once again. My heart pounded in my chest as I struggled to maintain control of the car. The road ahead seemed to twist and turn in ways it never had before, leading me deeper into the heart of the forest. Panic threatened to overtake me, but I knew I couldn't give in to fear. I had to find a way out of this nightmare. As I drove on, the lights continued to swarm around me, forming an eerie procession that seemed to dance in tune with the howling wind. Each time I thought I had shaken them off, they would return, more numerous and relentless than before. It was as if they were taunting me, playing with me like a puppet on strings. My mind raced, trying to make sense of what was happening. Were these lights some sort of supernatural entity? Or was there a rational explanation for this bizarre phenomenon? I considered turning back, but the fear of what might be lurking behind me was too great. I had no choice but to press on. The road took a sudden dip, and as I rounded a bend, my headlights illuminated an old, dilapidated church, standing ominously by the roadside. The sight sent shivers down my spine, and an overwhelming sense of dread washed over me. I knew I had to keep going, but something compelled me to stop and investigate. I parked the car and stepped out, my footsteps echoing in the silence. The church's wooden doors creaked open, revealing an interior consumed by darkness. I hesitated, unsure if I should enter, but an inexplicable force drew me closer. As I crossed the threshold, the doors slammed shut behind me, plunging me into total darkness. With trembling hands, I fumbled for my phone and activated its flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness, revealing the decaying pews and ancient symbols etched into the walls. But what caught my attention the most was the stained glass window at the far end of the church. It depicted a haunting scene of hooded figures surrounding a glowing orb, and the architecture of the church itself seemed to mirror the twisted forest surrounding it. My heart raced, and I turned to leave, but the doors were now sealed shut. Panic set in once again, and I pounded on the wood, screaming for help. But my cries were met only with the haunting echoes of my own voice. Suddenly, a soft whisper echoed through the darkness, sending a chill down my spine. "Welcome, traveler. You have stumbled upon a place not meant for mortal eyes." I spun around, but there was no one there. The voice seemed to come from all directions at once, like a haunting melody that refused to be silenced. "Who are you? What do you want from me?" I called out, my voice trembling. "We are the keepers of the night, the shadows that dance in the moon's pale light," the voice replied. "You have trespassed into our realm, and now you must pay the price." A cold wind swept through the church, extinguishing the light from my phone. I was plunged into darkness once more, and the sense of being watched intensified. I stumbled and fell to my knees, my heart pounding in my chest. Suddenly, the lights I had seen on the road appeared again, flickering like fireflies in the abyss. They swirled around me, forming a swirling vortex of light that seemed to draw me in. I tried to resist, but it was as if an invisible force were pulling me closer, closer to the heart of the darkness. In that moment, I knew that I had been ensnared in a web of malevolent spirits, and there was no escaping their grasp. The night had turned against me, and I was nothing more than a plaything in their deadly game. As the lights enveloped me, I felt a searing pain in my chest, as if my very soul were being torn apart. The darkness closed in, and the world around me faded into nothingness. The morning sun broke through the trees, casting its warm glow on the abandoned church by the roadside. The road itself was empty, with no trace of the car or its driver from the night before. No one ever saw the lost traveler again, and the legends of the haunted road only grew stronger with time. Those who dared to venture out at night spoke of mysterious lights dancing in the darkness, warning others to stay away. And so, the road remained an ominous and forbidden path, where shadows held secrets and nightmares came to life under the cloak of night. It was a place where the living were advised to stay away, for once the darkness claimed you, there was no escape from its chilling embrace. Years passed, and the legend of the haunted road grew, spreading far beyond the confines of the small town. People came from all around to try and unravel the mystery of the disappearing traveler and the malevolent spirits that haunted the night. Some dismissed the stories as mere superstitions, while others were drawn in by the thrill of the unknown. Among those intrigued by the tales was a young woman named Emily. She was an intrepid adventurer, eager to explore the uncharted territories of the world, both in reality and the realm of the supernatural. Emily had heard about the haunted road from a fellow traveler and felt an irresistible pull to experience it for herself. As Emily drove towards the fabled road, her excitement mingled with a lingering fear. She had read about the missing traveler and the eerie lights, but her curiosity was stronger than any trepidation. She wanted to see if there was any truth to the stories, or if it was just the product of overactive imaginations. The night was as dark as any she had experienced, with the moon hiding behind thick, heavy clouds. As Emily's car navigated the winding path, she couldn't help but feel the oppressive weight of the forest surrounding her. Shadows loomed large, and the air seemed charged with an electric anticipation. As she ventured deeper into the woods, Emily's heartbeat quickened, and her mind played tricks on her. Every rustle of leaves or hoot of an owl sent shivers down her spine. She questioned herself, wondering if she was being foolish to embark on this reckless journey. Just as she considered turning back, Emily caught a glimpse of something unusual in her rearview mirror. Her heart pounded harder as she saw faint flickers of light, much like the ones described in the stories. But unlike the lost traveler from years ago, Emily was determined not to be paralyzed by fear. Summoning her courage, she continued onward, determined to confront the mystery head-on. The lights grew brighter and more numerous as they surrounded her car, just as they had done with the previous traveler. Yet, Emily pressed on, unyielding in her pursuit of the truth. The path led her to the old, abandoned church. The very sight of it sent chills down her spine, but Emily knew she had to investigate if she wanted answers. She parked the car, hesitated for a moment, and then made her way towards the ominous building. The wooden doors creaked open with a haunting familiarity, and she stepped inside the darkness, her flashlight casting eerie shadows on the decaying walls. Emily felt the weight of history in the air, as if the church were whispering forgotten tales of sorrow and despair. "Who's there?" Emily called out, her voice echoing through the emptiness. "What do you want from me?" There was no answer, but she sensed a presence, an unseen entity observing her every move. Emily continued deeper into the church, her flashlight beam dancing over the faded symbols on the walls. The stained glass window held a magnetic pull, drawing her closer with an irresistible curiosity. As she examined the window, Emily noticed something peculiar. The figures in the glass seemed to be moving, shifting their positions subtly, as if in response to her presence. The glowing orb at the center pulsed with an otherworldly light that seemed to connect with her very soul. In that moment, Emily realized that the stories were not merely tales to frighten the faint of heart. There was a truth to them that she could not deny. The spirits that haunted this place were no mere apparitions. They were trapped souls seeking release. She felt a deep sadness wash over her, an empathetic connection to the tortured spirits who had met their fate on this road. Emily knew that she couldn't leave without doing something to help them find peace. With courage she didn't know she possessed, Emily spoke aloud, her voice filled with sincerity and compassion. "I come in peace, seeking understanding, not to disturb your rest. If there's anything I can do to help you find peace, please let me know." For a moment, there was nothing but silence. Then, a soft breeze seemed to whisper through the church, carrying a sense of acknowledgement. The lights that had surrounded her car and danced in the darkness outside the church now gathered within its walls. The lights coalesced into a single, radiant orb of energy, hovering before Emily. It emanated a warmth that cut through the cold, and she felt a deep connection with the spirits. In that moment, Emily understood that they were trapped between worlds, unable to move on due to unresolved matters from their past lives. Driven by an inexplicable sense of duty, Emily asked. In response, the orb of light shifted, projecting images into the air. Emily saw snippets of memories, of lives cut short, and of pain and suffering endured by those whose souls were tethered to this cursed road. Among them, she saw the face of the lost traveler who had disappeared years ago. His spirit was trapped here, unable to find peace. Realizing that she held the key to setting them free, Emily made a vow to help these restless souls find closure. She ventured deeper into the woods, guided by the spirits, until she discovered a long-forgotten graveyard hidden among the trees. There, she found weathered headstones that bore the names of those who had died tragically on this road. The spirits communicated their stories to Emily, and she made it her mission to honor their memories by giving them a proper farewell. With every grave she tended, with every prayer she offered, the trapped souls seemed to grow lighter, their energy shifting. The bond between Emily and the spirits strengthened, and she became their beacon of hope, a bridge between the worlds of the living and the dead. Over time, the lights that once haunted the road diminished, and the tales of the haunted road took a different turn. The legend transformed from one of terror to one of redemption and compassion. People began to speak of the brave woman who had helped the lost souls find peace and release. Though she had faced darkness and fear, Emily's journey had taught her the power of empathy and the strength to face the unknown. She left the haunted road with a profound sense of purpose, and the knowledge that sometimes the scariest paths could lead to the most significant discoveries. From that day on, Emily continued her adventures, traveling the world with an open heart and an open mind, seeking out mysteries and helping those in need. The haunted road had forever changed her, imbuing her with a connection to the supernatural and a mission to bring peace to tormented souls. And so, the legend of the haunted road lived on, not as a cautionary tale of horror, but as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of compassion to heal even the deepest wounds. The shadows on the road had been transformed into guiding lights, reminding all who passed through that there was more to the world than met the eye, and that every journey held the potential for redemption and enlightenment. In the years that followed, Emily's reputation as a compassionate adventurer grew, and she became known as a seeker of lost souls and a healer of haunted places. Her travels took her to remote corners of the world, where she encountered supernatural phenomena and helped tormented spirits find peace. Yet, despite all the lives she touched and the souls she freed, Emily never forgot the haunted road that had set her on this extraordinary path. The memory of the lost traveler and the spirits trapped in that forsaken church remained etched in her heart, driving her to continue her mission. One fateful night, Emily received a mysterious letter. It was an invitation to a secluded estate nestled deep within the woods, signed only with the initial M. The letter spoke of unresolved spirits and a lingering darkness that needed her guidance.